Bet that title got your attention, you little degenerate. Femboys are a new notion to me. Thank you, anime. Call me Unk, or worse still, a boomer, but I didn't fully understand what it was when I first saw it.
I'm not a girl, I'm a boy!
Okay. Blame it on the neurological disorder, but the first thing I thought of was, why would you do this to yourself? Not in a hateful way, founded in ignorance, but rather a practical sense. That dress looks like it costs a fucking fortune. You want to be a woman? Ugh. Be paid less and harassed online? Well, good luck to you. This script was spurred on by people telling me to watch ReZero and enjoy it. Sadly, the simpery makes the enjoyment dip to -0. I thought ReZero was about the main character answering what temperature water freezes at after an autistic outburst. It made me consider that this wasn't the first time I'd encountered a femboy or crossdresser, or I'm not really sure what to call them. I believe trap is an offensive term to them, so Admiral Akbar is a bit like their Osama bin Laden hiding in a compound in Pakistan. I dived into the history a little bit, and I think I've learned the truth of it all. Femboys were invented by Themistophiles, a great general of Athens, who decided in a crisis that he simply was not gay enough for his position, so he invented them, and is hailed as an icon after also inventing White Monster and Finland. Fun fact here, and not me taking the piss, there was actually a powerful Roman senator in ancient Rome, and he was mocked and ridiculed for being gay. Oh, how terrible. The world really hasn't changed. Well, no, he was called gay because he loved and had sex with his wife a lot. A remarkable leap in logic, but admittedly I found it funny. Bros bonding over butt stuff has been a fixture in history. Hell, the Sacred Band was explicitly made up of gay lovers, an elite unit feared by all who opposed them. Why? Because killing one meant that their partner would enter a killing frenzy, and that's quite scary. This little factoid is funny, considering people who say people in the military shouldn't be gay despite having a clear and obvious superpower. Just a side note from me. Cross-dressing has been a core part of theatre for millennia.
Woman, in acting? You are far too hysterical and emotional to convey emotions or hysteria on stage.
Please, make that make sense for me. Actors and thespians would play women by dressing as them, with makeup and theatrics, essentially making drag older than most art forms, as the comedic aspect of a man dressed as a woman was played on regularly. After quite a long while, men realised that women are in fact people, and let them act on their own free will, and you're not going to believe this, but they can act too. A sad day for Mr. Cross-dressing actor, another profession taken by those dastardly women. The distinction between cross-dressing and gender identity is worth mentioning, as doing either is not explicitly a sexual act or one made to allure. It's simply a personal choice. Anime decided to completely ignore this and almost exclusively fetishize them. I even looked at an article that was about femboys that break the stereotype, and then did absolutely fuck all to do so, but at least it allowed me to learn of a key distinction. The first example is Blue Period. The main op turned best friend being someone who cross-dresses, but doesn't like to tell the people that they date up front that they have a male appendage, as she's scared that they will say no the moment they find out and leave. The main character effectively dead-names them, until through art they begin to understand self-perception and have a very touching moment where he finally comes round, and she bears all for an art piece as a form of self-acceptance. Lovely, handled really, really well. Then you got the vast majority of representations being like, I'm a guy, and I'm supposed to treat them the same. No thank you. The distinction meant I learnt something in this video. Being a femboy and trans are different. I had no idea. The character from Blue Period being trans, for example, and not a cross-dresser. A femboy being a man who dresses as a woman. A trans person, in this case, is someone who identifies as a woman and dresses, traditionally, like what people see as womanly. Apparently calling trans people femboys is actually quite offensive, but I decided to leave this all in as evidence that even idiots like me can get it. Anime, unfortunately, is a corruptive force, much like the dark side or sepsis. Continuing its long-standing position as chief ruiner of things, anime got its hands on cross-dressing, and tried its best, as ever, to make it weird. Don't believe me? Well, look what anime did to opening your mouth. I can't even go to the dentist anymore without feeling like a little slut. Femboys such as Astolfo are the most popular, with a name like a German chimney sweep, and Felix from Catboy University. They also both wear frills. There hasn't been a normal man attracted to frills since Edward VII died, and if you do find them sexy, then please turn yourself in, as they are worn exclusively by children in shuttlecocks. Childlike outfits are a fixture of anime because of, the noncery.
Who are you waiting for?
My friends?
Listen, we know you're here to see an 11-year-old girl.
She said she was 12!
Japan has a weird relationship with fashion, and by weird, I mean shit. Bit of a tangent here, but looks like I'm in charge of the script, and you are not. Japan does have some cool street fashion. I can never wear this, of course, as I'd look like a skip that could cast jutsus. The other type of fashion I see is first date fashion. You know what I mean. Two characters go on a date, and the guy turns up dressed the same as always, and the girl turns up in, quite frankly, the deadest dress imaginable. I asked my grandmother if she'd have worn a dress like this in the early 60s, and she said, maybe, if I was 6. Wearing something like this is not acceptable. If I met someone dressed like this, I'd turn around and leave, leaving her to weep beside the statue of the abandoned dog in Shibuya. Side note, if you dress like this, then you gotta go too, I'm afraid. You could enact the single largest sting operation in history if you went into their DMs and served a warrant on all the people therein. You'd put such a dent in the paedophile population of the earth that it may be eradicated like polio. Why is it called a femboy anyway? Good question. Fen man, admittedly, sounds like a level 2 barbarian your party needs to fell to save a village. I suppose being a man and femme at the same time is a bit less practical. Spend too long at the convention without some hormone stuff, and your 5 o'clock shadow might ruin the look. Just look at me. It grows everywhere. The weirdest exposure to femboys that I saw was Wolf's anime preview wankest title winner. I was reincarnated as the 7th prince so I could take my time perfecting my magical ability. My job is basically to look at all the isekai or reincarnation anime, much like a Hindu shaman. I took one look at this little twat and turned it off. Shows like to relegate the femboy to the harem outskirts lest they catch the cooties and evidence that they are purely there as fetish bait. I haven't seen a single femboy character use their appearance practically, like walking through a bra aisle and not feeling like a creep, or listening to Taylor Swift. They are there entirely for the, "What? But you're a guy. Why are you sitting down to pee?" Here's a hard truth. I rarely stand to pee. When else do I get to take a break from sitting around the wolf cave and shitposting online? My knees aren't what they used to be. Taking a piss is now classified as a restful period in my day, along with eating cream eggs and watching children fall over.
They fell.
I'm not sure there's ever been a case of the femboy being the primary interest in anime. Please, correct me if I'm wrong, but femboys are relegated to the bench of the harem, only putting up 4 points a game and a single rebound. I googled most popular anime femboys and I was dangerously close to knob on the timeline. Looking at discussions on the subject, it was quite possibly the biggest collection of gooners I have ever encountered. The Ostolfo discourse was some of the most entertaining threads I've ever read. A collection of diehards, trying to win people over with the characters' demonstrations of heroics and kindness. The rest attempting to make fire with their cocks like a caveman. It turns out that despite the cultural knowledge of femboys in the current era, the representations are very much carried by a few big players, for both good and ill. Wow, wasn't that informative and not really about anime? Ooh, whoopsie. Didn't want to get clapped into oblivion by another Japanese corporation who I've been beefing with, like they're from a rival gang set in Chicago. Feel free to subscribe or follow, as I need to validate my own existence. Bye.